There are the 3 needles I made today. Hi, Dan Tokar at the Willow Forge in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. I'm continuing the Blacksmith's Dictionary today with needle making. It's one of those small domestic articles that people don't think about, but I mean, imagine 250 years ago, where did needles come from? Like everything, they were handmade by somebody in a little shop somewhere. There were large operations in England, and most of the needles in America were imported until sometime in the 19th century. But there were a few people who actually made needles by hand in the United States. So I am going to show you how to turn wire, this mild steel wire, into working sewing needles. So the first step in needle making is to take your mild steel wire and clip off a couple of pieces that are shorter than your finished needles are going to be, because the needles will get longer as you cold work them and draw them out. So the first step is to take something like a 4-ounce ball peen hammer and gently straighten it out, because any of those little kinks in the wire will make it hard to keep it from rolling around as you punch the eye. So now I have a straight piece of wire, and I'm going to take a little heavier ball peen hammer, and I'm gently flattening the end of the wire. Then I'm going to use this punch, which is just like any punch, except it's much thinner on the end. And if you'll notice how it has a fairly thick body and a taper, and it's just the last millimeter or so that's actually the size of the eye, because you're not going to be using this thing to punch a hole that's much thicker than a millimeter or 2 in the thickness of the piece of wire. Now, the hardest part of this whole operation is not punching the eye, it's aligning the punch so that it's centered and straight. And make sure, right, tap it the first time and you look at it, and I don't know if you can, I have made an impression in the wire. All right, now that I've checked to see that that impression is where I want it, that it's straight and in the center of the wire, I'll tap it gently a couple of times. And dropping it on the floor is always a good move. Okay. That's the punched eye of the needle. Okay. So then you take the punch and go from the opposite side and tap it. And that makes sure that the little burrs and things are out, and you have a thing that looks like that. Then you have to take your file and take all of the burrs off of the cut end. And also even out any of the irregularities from punching the eye, because you almost never punch the eye exactly in the center. So you'll take the heavier side and even it out, and you end up with something that looks like that. All right, so you put the punch back in and drive it in. Oops. Drive it in. That's why I have a little bit of a gap here between the vise and the piece of metal, the radius edges of the bar. And the punches actually come through, and I will tap it the punches goes through, and I will take my little hammer and I will tap it gently turn it over. This refines the eye a little bit. So now it looks like that. And you file a little bit more. To even out the thicknesses. Taking the sharp corners off. And that's the majority of the eye of the needle part. Now, you do have to forge this other end out on the anvil, just like anything. You can take your hammer and put a taper, a square taper. And this cold working also work hardens the body of the needle and makes it stiffer and longer and tapered. You have to work the whole body of the needle so there are no soft spots. Because it's just a piece of wire, and if it's not work hardened, it's not going to stay straight. Alright, so I've made the body of the needle a square taper. Now I'm going to turn it into an octagon and forge out the corners, just gently tapping on the diamond. You can hear I've got a train coming down the tracks. Alright, so now I can just hammer it round and round, taking the corners off and turning it into a round, tapered body. And I have to stop now because the train's coming. Alright, the train has gone away, so I can get back to this. So, I am still forging the tapered part of the needle into more of a rounded shape. This work hardens it as well as smoothing it out a little bit. got that little bit by the eye. I could still use a little more. Okay, so that's what we've got. I'm going to straighten that out a little bit. It's got a little bit of a bend in it. Then I'm going to take my file and point it. And I am going to go up to the vise. Okay. Now that we've forged it, we can file it smooth. And sharp. Then I turn it around and work the eye down, because the eye is still kind of heavy. You don't really need a lot of metal for the side walls of the eye. And you want to keep that even. Now, back in the day, when all needles were handmade, they would make thousands of needles, and in order to polish them, they would actually have hundreds of needles in a row, and they'd roll them with abrasive paste to polish them. And they had early water-powered machines quite often doing the tumbling. So you have to think of sort of like an abrasive tumbling media that would scour the needles and smooth them out and also polish the inside of the eye, because the abrasive would get into the eye of the needle and smooth all of that out. Whereas doing this by hand, like this, you're limited to the file. And I will use a little bit of silicon carbide paper just to smooth it out a little more. And if I really wanted to go after it, I'd hit it with the buffing wheel and really smooth it out. So that's the roughly filed needle. Could do a little better on the taper of the tip here. And you see how stiff it's gotten. That started out as just a piece of mild steel wire, and now that it's been work hardened, it's actually pretty stiff. It's not quite as springy as a modern steel needle. Mild steel doesn't have enough carbon to heat treat worth a darn, and most modern sewing needles are at least a medium carbon steel. So I'm going to take some sandpaper and smooth and shine up my needle here. And again, if I was doing this 200 years ago, I would have hundreds of needles that I was tumbling in an abrasive tumbler to smooth them and shine them. So this is kind of a one-off needle. I got to shine up and smooth out the eye. Okay, that's not the prettiest needle I've ever made in my life, but it is a needle. And I am going to see if it works. So, I have some of this nice purple thread here. Or have to wet the thread and get it to go through there. Oh, one. There it is. My big fat blacksmith fingers. So, you can see, whoops, all right, there's the thread. I've got a piece of leather here. This part of my leather for around the vise. So even without an awl to make a hole in the leather, this little handmade needle will sew leather. So, as I sometimes tell people, I have worked on ship anchors and gates as well as sewing needles, the sort of range that you get into with blacksmithing projects. Yep, that eye could be a little smaller. Okay. Okay. Here is one of the needles I made today and some thin leather. I'm not the neatest leather worker in the world, but just to show you that it does work in fabric or there are 3 needles that I've made today, bigger and smaller eyes, and all I needed to make them was a hammer, a file, and a punch, and a little sandpaper and an anvil. Anyway,